Good evening, team friends. Greg and Liz here with you. So we're going to start with what is a busy news day from the WFBI team. All suspects accused of the hazing of Southern University Omega Psi Phi fraternity pledges have now turned themselves in.
Our chief investigator, Chris Nakamoto, has been on top of this one since day one, exposing the initial lies that were reportedly told to investigators. Chris, what have you learned now?
Well, good evening, Liz and Greg. Details in newly released arrest documents show who is accused of hitting Caleb Wilson and goes into specific details about those who were there the night during that hazing ritual. It's what helped investigators get to the truth. Tonight, Caleb is no longer here, and the 3 young lives charged with hazing pledges are facing serious felony charges. 2 of them ended up in handcuffs today, and only the WAFBI team was there as police hauled them away. Isaiah Smith didn't utter a word on his way to a waiting vehicle on his way to jail. This video filmed Tuesday morning after Smith turned himself into the Violent Crimes Unit in Baton Rouge. Smith is facing felony hazing charges, accused of punching at least one of the pledges. Investigators noted Smith was known as the Dean of Pledges, and it was his car that was used to transport Caleb Wilson's unresponsive body to the hospital, where Wilson was pronounced dead. A court commissioner set his bond at $25,000 for criminal hazing, a felony. We then spoke to his attorney.
Up until this afternoon, we didn't know what the allegations were. We didn't know what, who's accused of doing what. And, in clear print, you can read the affidavit. I read the affidavit for the arrest warrant. In clear print, it's clear that he never made contact with Caleb. Now, that being said, this was a freak occurrence.
The hazing ritual came to light 2 weeks ago. Fraternity members initially reported that Wilson, a student at Southern University, collapsed at this park in Baton Rouge. That was a lie we first exposed. Instead, Wilson was actually at this warehouse, which was being leased by the father of Isaiah Smith.
Isaiah is terribly remorseful about this. This is nothing that anybody wanted. And I think we're still in a state of shock about what's going on. He's a student at Southern. He's a member of a fraternity. He loves the fraternity. He loves the pledges. He loved Caleb. So to be sure, remorse is an understatement.
Smith is among 2 others also implicated in the hazing. Kyle Thurman was captured by U.S. Marshals at this home in Port Allen Monday night. This is video of him as he was escorted from the West Baton Rouge jail back to the jurisdiction where the hazing occurred Tuesday morning. Warrants indicate the Southern pledges were broken up into 2 groups. Thurman allegedly punching the first group with boxing gloves. And this man, Caleb McCray, allegedly punched the second group. Police say Caleb Wilson was in that second group. McCray is facing the most serious of the charges, manslaughter, which could carry up to 40 years in prison if convicted, along with a felony hazing charge. Arrest warrants say McCray is accused of punching Wilson 4 times, at which point Wilson collapsed. His lawyer asking the public not to rush to judgment.
People have a lot of opinions on this case, but there's still a lot of information and variables that are unknown at this time. And so when I ask people to hold off judgment, I'm just simply asking to just trust this criminal justice process, that as the case develops, there's more information we'll learn. And I know it's early to ask for any, empathy or sympathy toward my client, but his life has been altered.
Philip Robinson says Caleb McCray is grieving tonight.
And he experienced a traumatic event himself. This is a tough situation all the way around. I am confident in my client's innocence. I do feel that my client will have an opportunity to defend himself and give his point of view.
The heartache of Caleb Wilson's death has 2 communities from Baton Rouge to New Orleans facing enormous grief, including at the Pilgrim Baptist Church in Kenner.
Caleb grew up in this church from a baby. He was baptized here, so he's been a member all of his life. As a matter of fact, his entire family, his father and his mother, grandfather, who was a former pastor of this church for 44 years.
Pastor Mitchell Stevens knew Caleb Wilson well and will be there when his life is remembered this weekend for the extraordinary things Wilson did in his short years on earth.
He played his trumpet many times when he was in from college. He would play for one of our worship services, but just seeing him around. So he was always at my house, or my son was at his house. So just missing the closeness of our families.
Southern is planning remembrances on Friday, followed by his funeral at Pilgrim Baptist Church in Kenner on Saturday. McCrae is due back in court in May. Smith is due back in court in June. Right now, jail records show bond has been set at $25,000 for Kyle Thurman. Greg?
All right, Chris Nakamoto for us tonight. We appreciate it. Thank you. So new